Say a few words about our star players. Thank you, coaches.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Jefferson. Good evening, everyone. Mr. Mott, board members. It's a privilege to be here tonight to honor my basketball player. She who's a great kid, student athlete, doesn't miss practice, barely misses school. I don't think she's missed school. Just an awesome kid, and it's an honor to be here to appreciate and celebrate her and reaching her 1,000-point as a sophomore. As a sophomore, and if she continues, she'll probably be the Kipsey all-time leading scorer. So that's something that we have to look forward to.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, board, for this opportunity. My first year coaching the boys varsity, it was an honor to coach Victor. Not only is he a phenomenal basketball player, but he's an even better person. He is a leader in the building. He is a 90 student. He's the whole package. Some of his accomplishments this year. I mean, you look at his accomplishments this year alone. He was an all-league player, all-class or all-county player. He was an all-section player, all-county. He was the Dutchess County Player of the Year this year. I mean, he's in the exceptional senior game, 1,000 points. I mean, the gentleman does it all. All right, and we should be really proud of him. Like I said, it was an honor to coach you this year, Vic, and I wish you guys, especially you and your mom, nothing but the best next year, wherever you decide to go.
Let's bring the stars up. Come on up, Mahogany and family, Victor and family, come on up. I think now's the time for a photo op with their well-earned 1,000-point balls.
I was gonna eat the family. Can I say something? Before you guys leave, before you all leave, Mahogany, I just want to say you should feel really, really special about this. This is Women's History Month. The work you're doing is amazing. So the fact that this happened this month in March, you should be really, really proud of yourself. And Black Girls Rock.
You can, all right. Help me with pronouncing your first name. All right.
Hey, Sonia, Ray Ray.
All right, Ray, you have the mic for the
Thank you.
citizen
I
comment.
just have a very brief comment about our experience tonight. Tonight, we did come here to honor these young people, and we were all very excited to do so. But unfortunately, after sitting even almost into an hour without someone coming to relay to us that there is difficulties, that turned from excitement to feeling disrespected. 20 minutes, that's okay, 30 minutes even. But beyond that, it's literally disrespectful. So on behalf of everyone here, I'd like to make a great suggestion. When you are going to honor someone, if you find yourself in such a problem in the back, you probably should come out and maybe take the time to do the honors first so that the excitement level doesn't dissipate. Do the honors and then reconvene to your meeting. That would have been a very simple solution to your problem. And what occurred today is discouraging to those who have not been to a board meeting, because many people left and others who were staying were saying, well, I'm not coming back, I'll send a letter. So it's bittersweet to have experienced this. Again, congratulations to the young people. They have made history, but you guys just made history too, and it's not a good one. So if you would just try and keep that in mind, please. People are tired. If you find yourself stuck and not able to come up with a solution, take your time, do your honors, which only took 10 minutes, and then go reconvene to your meeting. Thank you for letting me
No,
speak.
Ms. Ray, I appreciate the vote. I appreciate that, and I understand where you're coming from, so I apologize on behalf of myself and the board for it.
Understood. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Mart, do you want to, I know we also have somebody waiting to speak.
I would love to, if you turning this over to the superintendent report.
Or they've been waiting to.
Superintendent report, okay.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. DeLucia, make your way to the microphone. We have guests with us today. District Superintendent of Duchess BOCES going to have a conversation with us this evening to speak upon the proposed 2027 budget. I want to thank Dr. Lucia and her team for coming out this evening, and want to apologize to you as well for our delay in beginning the meeting. But feel free to take the microphone and share your presentation. Becky, I believe it's up. You should be able to see it to your immediate left and right for your convenience. So without further delay, Doc, in your hands.
Good evening, everybody. It's nice to be here this evening. We're very excited to be here to talk to you about our budget presentation for the next year, and to help answer any questions that you might have, and to share a little bit about where we are at Duchess BOCES on our journey of innovation, partnership, and growth. So you can see what you have to look ahead to in the coming school years. So thank you for the opportunity to be here. I know you've had a long evening, and probably looking at budget numbers is not the next part of your dream for the evening, but we appreciate your attention for just the next couple of minutes. I'm very excited. I don't think you've had the opportunity to have this presentation before by our Assistant Superintendent for Business Services and Operations, Michael Scarrett, and I'm going to turn it over to him in just a moment to talk to you about the budget. Is somebody clicking? Who's my clicker? Are you my clicker? Okay, can I have my next slide? I did want to share with you just for 1 second before we moved along. What we're presenting this evening is our administration budget. That's the voted on portion of the BOCES budget that's voted on by all of our component districts. And we also have our annual board meeting coming up. Our annual board meeting is on April 8th. Ms. Torres can share with you any details that you might need about that. You are, of course, always invited to attend our annual meeting, where we'll get to enjoy a lovely dinner prepared by our culinary students following the meeting. We do have 2 open seats for our board this year. As you know, how that works is that Duchess BOCES has representation that comes from our component districts. Any component district can have a nominee to run for our board. They don't have to sit on that district's board, but they do have to reside in that district. But each district can only have one. We did have a representative from Poughkeepsie who is not running for the next school year. So all nominations go through Ms. Torres, and they have to be in, I believe, March 20th is the date. So I just wanted to share that with everybody as well. And that will also be presented and then will be voted on with our annual vote in May. I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Scarrett
Sure.
to talk a little bit about the timeline.
Sure. So I just wanted to kind of go quickly through our budget timeline. Similar to you, obviously, we planned this well in advance. We've actually been working with our directors since the November timeframe to really look at the different structure that we have to put in place ultimately to meet your needs. By the middle of January, I send out initial service rates, a service guide, and service forms to all of our districts. And we ask that you spend the next few months trying to come up with your best estimates in terms of what you might need in the fall. We understand that it's early ultimately, but we know that you also need our numbers to be able to factor into your budgets that you'll ultimately work on over the next few months. By the beginning part of April, I ask for those forms back. It gives us a couple of months really to work with the districts and work with our own directors to try to staff and to meet your needs for the coming school year. On April 28th, we'll actually ask you to vote on our administrative budget that Dr. DeLucia just mentioned. And then on June 10th, our board will actually approve an initial budget. And I often say that the minute that our board approves that budget, it's outdated because changes will be made to the service levels requested by the districts. And it's just an evolving process throughout the year. But we really want a starting point. We ultimately want to work with you to meet your needs as they evolve and change. On the next slide, we just show our major program areas. The largest sliver there that you see in orange is our special alternative education programming. It's about 30% of our budget. I'm going to work kind of counterclockwise. Our career and technical education program is just under 10% of our budget. As Dr. DeLucia mentioned, we'll talk about the administrative budget. That's the one piece of our budget that you actually vote on. The rest of the programs that we offer, you're going to decide based on the wants and the needs of your district to either join our programming or not. But the one piece, again, that's allocated based on enrollment, and I'll talk about that in just a second, is the administrative budget and why we want to talk to you about it tonight. There's many cross contracts that you may take out with other BOCES, the largest piece being the Regional Information Center over at Ulster BOCES. We also have management services, learning technologies, which are the equipment and professional development around learning technologies, and then educational resources, which is the professional development arm of the BOCES, and that's just under 10% as well. On the next slide is the key budget assumptions. Like school districts, we need to start with a set of assumptions. For us, we have a teacher's contract that is expiring at the end of June. So obviously a successful negotiation there that balances not only the needs of our staff members and ultimately enters into a fair contract with them, but also understands that any negotiations that happen there will have an impact on our budget. To try to be as balanced and prudent as we can will be key to this next budget cycle. Right now, we're projecting a 9.9% health insurance increase. Anyone that's gone out for a prescription drug obviously knows that health insurance costs are increasing substantially. We're a member of the Dutchess Educational Health Insurance Consortium, so we're just 1 out of 24 members. Ultimately, the rates will be dictated to us, but at a shade under 10%, we'll roll that into our budget. Yeah, and as Dr. DeLucia just reminded me, over the last couple of months, this estimated premium increase has come down substantially. So DHIC has done some really wonderful work to bring down initial estimates that were north of 16% down to below 10%. We're looking at different networks of providers, really, again, trying to provide quality health insurance, but doing it in such a way that it's prudent for budgets moving forward. We're looking to make strategic investments in cutting edge career technical education, instructional technologies and equipment. We want kids working on the equipment that they're going to be working on when they ultimately leave our programs and enter the workforce. And we're going to focus on the evolving needs of special education. We're getting many referrals at our lowest levels, 4th, 5th, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, and how are we going to ultimately try to meet those needs with limited space available. We've seen growth in our early college programs and our dual enrollment programs, so we need to make sure that we're staffed appropriately for that. We've rolled out a new safety and security service, which is going to be wonderful for our region. We're really proud of that, and we think that we can do quite a bit to make sure that districts are as safe as they can possibly be. And then ultimately, all of our other discretionary spending, we need to follow kind of the same protocols that school districts do that are under the tax cap. Right? We need to look at our supplies, our equipment, our contractual, all the kinds of discretionary things that you deal with in your districts as well. We need to be prudent. Flipping to the next chart, this is our administrative budget. I mentioned the health insurance increase. That's really important to us because 75% of our administrative budget is retirees' health insurance. So no matter where the person works when they're at BOCES, when they retire, by law, we have to move the cost of their retiree health insurance into our administrative budget. So any changes in the DHIC rates really have a dramatic impact on our budget. Overall, the budget will be up 4.14%, which again, in light of what the health insurance increases will be, we think is a reasonable number. In addition to the retiree health piece, there's the other typical administrative expenses that you would expect in a BOCES. Superintendent's office, deputy superintendent's office, business office, and human resources department. That spending will be up 1.09%, so just over 1%. Again, we've tried to be really prudent with our discretionary spending. On the revenue side, obviously, whatever our budget goes up, we need to raise a commensurate level of revenue because of a slight projected decrease in other income, which is essentially interest income. And we get some money for being the lead agent on our DHIC consortium, but primarily because interest rates are falling, I expect other income to drop just a little bit. So the district portion of that, which is the remainder, will be up 4.94%. How that money gets allocated is on the next chart. So obviously, once we know exactly how much needs to be raised from each district, the state dictates that you do that based on a thing called RWADA, resident weighted average daily attendance. You don't have to remember that term. Think about it really as your enrollment. There's some level of weighting for your secondary age students, but it's a number that's dictated by SED. And Poughkeepsie is actually increasing year over year, increasing pretty substantially. I think you're actually one of the few districts that's going up, but you're certainly by percentage terms, the district that's increasing the most. While that's great in a lot of cases, when that comes to allocating in a budget, you have a slightly bigger portion of the share now. So your percentage year over year, just in terms of the administrative budget, would be an 8.06% increase. I move to the next chart. The second budget that we like to share tonight is our capital budget. This is a budget that's allocated to schools. You don't vote on this, but because it's an allocation, we like to lump the two together and make sure that you're aware of it and that we're on board, that you're on board with it before we move forward. We set aside $1 million to do minor capital repairs. Obviously, $1 million doesn't go as far as it used to, but this would give us the opportunity to fix any leaky roofs. If we needed to fix an HVAC unit, windows, floors, anything of that nature that wouldn't typically run through your operating budget, it allows us to kind of set aside some monies to do those things so that you don't have to go out for a big capital project or stretch your year-to-year operational budgets. In addition, we have some classrooms that we rent in our in districts. We have 3 in Spack and Kill, 1 in Red Hook, 1 in Millbrook. The cost of renting those facilities is also in this budget. It's an increase overall of about $1,200. Your share of that would be up 3.09%, again, based on the fact that your enrollment is increasing year over year. The next chart, where I'll end this in terms of finance terms, and I'll turn it back over to Dr. DeLuca so she can share the interesting and fun stuff about students and our future programming, is your BOCES surplus and state aid. I always like to show districts how much did you invest at our BOCES and what did you get back, both in terms of surplus, which is if we had excess revenues over expenditures, that all has to get returned back to the schools. So unlike schools, you can maintain a fund balance. We're not allowed to do that. At the end of every year, we have to return it all and start fresh the following July. So you spent just under $14 million with us last year. You got back just under $1 million in surplus and $2.8 million of state aid. And what I always say is those numbers are actually understated because all of your special education programming and your transportation spending gets aided directly to your school. I don't have that number handy, so I don't include it here, but your percentage is actually far greater than 27%. So we like to think that you get a good benefit if you use the BOCES, and ultimately we want to be there and want to be a partner with you to try to meet your needs in a prudent manner. With that, that kind of wraps up the finance piece. I'd like to turn it back to Dr. DeLucia to talk about your students and our future plans.
Thank you. So some of you I haven't met before, so I'm very delighted to meet you tonight. Some of you know that I took this position officially 1 year ago tomorrow, actually. I know. Thank you. And right about that time, we really started to focus and prioritize our journey of what I've coined innovation, partnership, and growth. And I think that the work that we've been able to do in the past 2 years, and particularly in the past year, has been, really focused, and we've been able to make really large gains in the way that we've been able to provide opportunities through the BOCES for those who are often the furthest from opportunity. And that's one of our biggest focuses. And we have a group of students in our special and alternative education population who often are the furthest from opportunity. And we're really very focused on finding the appropriate programming for students who don't have placements. So what you see here are your numbers of students who do have placements with us. SPC is our Salt Point Center. That's our K-8 special education center. The alternative high school is our Resilience Academy. The students have recoined it from alternative high school to Resilience Academy. And then our in-district classrooms, as Mr. Metzger said, those are our special education programs that have students from all over the county, but they're housed in school districts. What we are really seeing are really babies who don't have access to programming. And so we're really focused on developing the right type of programming to meet the needs. I often use the numbers that over the summer we had a period of time where we had about 120 to 140 intakes in a 2-week period. That means referrals sent to us who we deemed appropriate for our programming and scheduled intakes for. Of that, about 90 of those intakes were for kindergarten students. We were not able to accept 90 students. Right? We don't have a placement for them. So when you think about that, we think about those babies who don't have placements. And I have a phrase that folks will often repeat after me where I say, if not us, and then they say, then who? So I like to use these numbers to tell you that we are doing everything we can to meet the needs of your kiddos and your babies who need supports, but we know that the needs are so great and so vast out there. And over the next 3 years, we're really hoping to be able to grow programming in such a way that we can really meet the needs of those coming to us with the highest level of need and the least access to the care that they need at the really early intervention level. At CTI, we're really happy to share that we continue to expand the supports and the attendance for the students in the Poughkeepsie City School District. And this year we have 80 students attending, 11 nursing assistant students, 8 cosmetology, 9 culinary arts, 6 HVAC. We cluster them at the top for you because there's actual clusters of students in those programs. And then we have 5 each in our security and law, electrical trades, fashion design and merchandising, auto tech, animal and plant sciences. And then the 21 assorted other means they're 1 or 2 in all the other programs. And we didn't want to have to, read you every single program that they have. Poughkeepsie has also been a tremendous partner in our PTech program. We currently have 8 PTech students in the program. We started 2 years ago, so they're just completing their 2nd year. That means this cohort of babies is going to the campus next year at Dutchess Community College, so we're very excited for them. Moving into the next school year, we were actually able to work with Dutchess Community to add a 2nd pathway. So this pathway is the electrical technician program. Next year, we'll be able to also offer our cyber technology program, cybersecurity. I'm tired, sorry. Cybersecurity program, which is really exciting to be able to have 2 full pathways through the college. We're also really working on expanding our dual enrollment opportunities around the county, and we're working, I actually think that we may, Dr. Mott, have a meeting coming up with Dutchess Community and Wappingers to plan what types of partnerships for early college access that we can have for our kiddos as we work both through CTI, through our career and tech programs, really discussing the difference between what is an articulation agreement, which we already have in almost every single program, which means if I go to your college, I'm going to have credit for these courses in your college, which is different than early college access, which is I took it and I deserve the credit, and I'm going to have a transcript that will be transferable, right? So expanding those transferable credit options for students. Oh, she's just jumping me to the end. What you see on the screen, I've been talking to you about our journey, is that we took a lot of input, and I know some of you may have even filled out some of the surveys that were available as we completed our strategic plan. And we do have 4 very strategic focus areas at the BOCES. The first is to have BOCES as a leadership and central service hub. What that really means is we want to be your first call, and I know that I always answer my cell phone. I don't know what time of it doesn't really matter. Dr. Mark's nodding at me. It doesn't really matter what time of day it is, because we have access to a lot of resources and supports and networks where we can try to help, whether it be with staffing or with a state ed regulation or whatever the question might be, whether you're going to close school or not, all of the fun things that we like to talk about. And also the supports through NYSID and that we offer at Dutchess BOCES, right? So as we move through the portrait of a graduate and try to understand what that really means for each of our districts individually, that support comes through the BOCES. The second for us is talent management and development, both at BOCES and across the county and across the region. Later in April, we'll be hosting an education-specific job fair at Dutchess BOCES. We'll be able to do hiring on the spot for several positions, but also working with the Department of Civil Service to do some presentations and help folks understand what it looks like to follow those pathways. We know the positions that are really hard to fill, and we want to make sure that we have really qualified people working with our babies. The next is student engagement and experiences. I've already shared a lot with you about that, so I won't expand too much, but just that we want to have the best programming. Often the students who are attending our programs have been met with little success in their home placements, or their home placement doesn't have the opportunity to provide success for them. And so we like to say, somebody said it to us once and we like to repeat it, we're not sending the kids to us so they can have less, right? We send them to us so they can have more and be more successful. So as we continue to find these pockets of students who are not having success and opportunity, we're going to continue to develop programs for them. And then the last is operations. Interestingly, thank you all for supporting our last capital project. However, we have officially run out of classrooms again, and we're out of bays, and this is where partnership comes in. So if you feel like you have a lot of time and you're generous with your time, on our homepage, you will find a link to a very short survey for our space utilization study about what programs and services you think that BOCES should be considering expanding. As we complete the space utilization survey and continue to expand and improve our campus, we really want to find great opportunities, whether that's being able to share space with Dutchess Community College, whether it's at IBM through quantum computing, and what are the trades that we need to support that work. We really hope to have as much feedback as possible, to be as innovative as possible as we move forward. I'm not going to lie, I'm very hopeful for a therapy pool in this process at Dutchess BOCES, because we have a lot of kiddos that need that service, and we don't have one in this county. And an hour and 40 minutes down to PNW is a long ride for some of our babies. So if we can bring them home, that's what we want to do. So I tried to put a lot in a very little amount of time. I know that Mr. Scarrett is happy to answer your money questions, and I am happy to answer any other questions that you might have.
I don't really have a question per se. Full support of BOCES as a New Visions graduate, New Visions healthcare graduate. I understand the need for BOCES. Also, as a former healthcare recruiter, actually right across the street, a lot of our nurses and CNAs came through the BOCES program. So anything I can do to support BOCES, I will. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Eleanor?
Hi, Jody.
Eleanor, how are you?
I'm great. I think it's good that that BOCES is giving the children an alternative, or, something that they can be able to progress with their careers. I think it's just amazing. And I will be doing the survey. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.
I just had a question about P-TECH specifically. Do you see any opportunities for more of our students to participate in that program? I see that there are 8 currently, but like what's the maximum capacity of participation?
So the P-TECH cohort specifically is 25 student. It's a 25 student cohort per year. So next year, so you'll have the 8 that you have, 4 per, I think it's been 4 per year, if I'm not wrong. And then however many you choose to enroll into next year's cohort. So this is a cohort that starts with us in 9th grade.
Okay.
And so they have to complete all 4 years out of high school. So it is, it is a population of student who have that opportunity. So certainly more seats could be available to Poughkeepsie if that was an enrollment opportunity they wanted. But it's also why we're continuing to work with Dr. Jordan to create things that aren't full P-TECH pathways, meaning they have to leave their district during their high school career for 4 years. Maybe the 2 years at CTI end up resulting in 1 full year of their associate's degree being complete. Those are the types of conversations that we're currently having to try to create increased opportunity that doesn't necessarily, think of your 2 fabulous scholars tonight, right? Sports, that dedication to sports would be very difficult for a student who had to take their full course load down at Wappingers and in Fishkill.
Right.
So that's why we want to create additional early college access opportunities for students.
Got it.
And, we're working on that both through our early college access COSER and then through partnership with our Career and Tech Institute.
Okay, great.
And
Thank
I
you.
did forget to mention also just some of our new programming for CTI is specifically focused on our special education population. So next year we have a new pathway for hospitality and restaurant management that's really geared towards those students who have special education needs, who maybe could not really find success in a culinary arts program. Maybe knife skills are not their thing, right? But there's certainly a really good jobs out there for them in the restaurant and hospitality industry that we can prepare them for. So we're trying to also create those types of pathways for students.
Thank you.
I was going to make a comment on your P-TECH students. I coach a few of them, and they are so proud and to come in and they tell me every day I'm in P-TECH. And so you're doing a great
They
job.
should be proud. It's a big deal. They'll graduate. We are one of the first P-TECHs in the state to not have a 6-year program, to only have a 4-year program.
Right.
So when these babies graduate, they'll have their associates instead of having to come back that following year. And the 6-year programs have about a 27% statewide success rate. We want them to leave with their diploma in hand.
That's
Wow.
they are so proud and dedicated, and it's a joy to watch. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. DeLucia.
Thank you.
And so much for coming out this evening. Appreciate your financial presentation as well. And best of luck and appreciate it again for staying with us in spite of the time.
Thank you.
No
Thank you for your
worries.
service.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
both
you.
and for your service. And I hope the rest of your meeting is less eventful for you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. That concludes the superintendent's report.
We're now moving to the Board of Education reports. Do we have anybody to speak on the SAVE committee? No report. Capital Improvement and Finance Committee. I missed the meeting, so I apologize, but. All right. The Audit Committee, we did meet, right? And we set a very, a somewhat, a new refresh pathway, and we look forward to being live and adapting and just moving forward with that. And we have all our meetings planned.
Yep, it was a very productive meeting and just changing some of the procedural things that need to happen for state law. And it's going to be very beneficial to the district.
Student Achievement Committee.
We met February 11th, and we reviewed the middle of the year iReady data for students. We are showing some great signs of academic recovery from the data that we reviewed. A lot of students are making significant progress, but a lot of students are still under grade level. Something that we talked about was a continued focus on mathematics and how that's going to be especially important. And how sustained investment in instructional supports will be key, especially at the tier 1 level. Our next meeting is scheduled for March 11th, and we are going to be walking through the profile of a sample student and what targeted intervention and support might look like for a typical student receiving services.
Thank you, Naomi.
You're welcome.
The next is so student support. Fatima, are you still on? She's not here.
Oh, but I'll read for her.
All right. Becky will.
Okay. Okay, this is on behalf of Board Member Fatima Martinez Santiago. We met on February 20th, if I'm not mistaken. The policy committee continues its systematic review and update of district policies to ensure compliance with state guidance, best practices, and current district operations. This work has included 2 primary areas of focus: completing the annual policy review cycle and continuing the comprehensive review of policies that have not been updated in many years. As previously shared with the board, the district requested the New York State School Boards Association to review policies that had not been examined in approximately 2 decades. The committee is now actively working through these recommendations and updates. Annual policy review update. The committee has now completed its review of the district's annual policies. This was an extensive process, particularly as several policies required significant updates and in some cases had not been fully maintained in accordance with recommended review cycles. With the completion of this review, the committee is now moving the updated policies through the board approval process, including first and second readings. District cabinet leaders responsible for relevant operational areas will continue presenting and supporting these policies as they come forward for board consideration. Second reading policies. The following policies are being presented to the board for second readings and potential action: Policy 4000, Policy 4000R, and Policy 4010. These policies were reviewed in collaboration with district leadership, including the Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Education and Assistant Superintendent of Schools. Additionally, the committee is recommending that the board rescind Policy 4100. This recommendation was made by NISBA during its policy audit, as the policy was determined to be non-essential and no longer necessary with the district's policy framework. First reading policies. The following policies are being introduced for first reading. As a reminder, the first reading process provides board members with an opportunity to review the policies and raise any questions or concerns prior to adoption. These policies represent the final group in the annual policy review cycle. Policy 0111, which is the sexual harassment and Title IX procedures, is a new policy. Policy 4200, curriculum management. Policy 4230, curriculum adoption. Policy 5500, student records. Policy 8121.2 is the automated external defibrillators. AEDs is a new policy. Updated school safety plan and safety teams policy incorporating AED, and cardiac response language. That's what that policy is about. Policy 8505 is charging school meals and other food items, and policy 8520, free meals services. In addition, policy 9231 is being brought forward for update. While this policy has been previously adopted, it requires adjustment to reflect updates affecting non-representative employees. Because these employees are not collectively represented by a union, any changes to their terms and conditions must be reflected through board policy. Given that the Board of Education has been engaged in conversation about these amendments since December, the committee requested that the board waive the first and second readings to move the policy forward for action. As policy revisions move through the approval process, the superintendent and the district leadership will ensure that all relevant stakeholders, including administrative staff and operational teams, receive appropriate guidance regarding any procedural updates linked to these policies. This process is essential to ensure that policy changes are not only adopted but also effectively implemented throughout the district. The committee will continue its ongoing review of remaining policy sections recommended by NISBA with the goal of ensuring that all district policies are current, compliant, and aligned with best practices in governance and school district operations. The policy committee appreciates the board's continued engagement in this important governance work. Thank you.
Dutchess County School Board liaison.
So the Dutchess County School Board, we have an upcoming meeting coming up. So yeah, tomorrow, so not too much.
Common Council liaison. We don't have one. Volunteers to sign up. No. Okay. All right. Thank everyone for the reports. We're moving on to the consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda that any of the board members wish to, wait, make sure I say it in the right? Are there any agenda items to be pulled? If there are none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items that is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items that include the following sections: district clerk, personnel, pupil personnel, education, community schools, finance and administration, and superintendent? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We are moving to the action items. I'm asking permission to group 19.1 through 19.12, since they are all policy, and ask that the board, if it will be okay to group these items for a vote. If yes, are there any motions to approve items 19.1 through 19.12.12?
I'd like to make a motion to remove 19.5.
Duly noted. Can we pull 19.5 back?
From the group that you're trying to do.
Yeah, we'll remove it from that and then we'll bring it back and discuss it. 19.5, correct? Is there a motion to approve 19.1 minus 19.5 through 19.12?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can we now just bring 19.5 onto one for discussion? Did I say that right? All right.
I'd like to make a motion to table this resolution for us to have a conversation during our next executive session regarding this policy.
Do I make it? How do I make the motion correctly?
I made the motion.
All right, is there a second? I'll give a second. Can we have a roll call count? Or can we have a vote?
Ms. Flinkson Marquez,
Yes.
Mr. Carmens.
Yes.
Ms. Chiarenza,
Yes.
and Mr. Creedon.
Yes. Motion table. Is there a motion to approve? Isn't 19.13, didn't we just do that? Okay. Is there a motion to approve item 1913, approval of the policy change to the non-represented employment policy 9231?
I make a motion to table this to our next board meeting so that we have more time to review the document.
Can I make a motion to,
We need a second.
can we have a discussion? Can we have,
You have a second first, then discussion.
can we have a second?
Second.
Can we have discussion?
I just need a little bit more time to review the full, the numbers before I can make an informed decision tonight. So I just need to take some more time to review that document before I can vote yes or no in good conscience.
Is that possible? I'm asking the superintendent, you know, is that a big pull or is that possible?
Well, the question is, he wants more time to review the entirety of the down-the-line agreement, policy, I should say.
Right, it does not go hold anything up.
It's not gonna hold anything.
Then good. All right, give a
We have a discussion, so we can vote to approve or.
can we move to a vote to table? Is that what we're saying? Can we have a motion to table 19.1?
We're voting now.
All right. For the removal. The table. Do a roll call.
Ms. Flinkson Marquez,
Yes.
Mr. Cummins.
Yes.
Ms. Chiarenza,
Yes.
Mr. Creedon.
Yes.
Motion is
Motion.
tabled, it carries.
We're now up to 19.14, correct, Becky? Is there a motion to approve item 19.14, data protection officer?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second, excuse me.
Any discussion? Can we have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve item 19.15, trustee to the Dutchess County's Workers' Compensation Cooperative? Is there a second? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, can we have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Is there a motion to approve item 19.16, early retirement incentives memorandum of agreement?
So moved.
Is it
Second.
discussion? Hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there a motion to approve item 19.17, deputy treasurer appointments?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we want to make that statement or do we have to take action on the letter from Mark? Right. All right, we received a a letter of interest from Mark Fleischer Hauer to be nominated for the Dutchess County School Board Association. The district clerk sent us to it on February 27th. Madam Board Clerk, please do a roll call to accept the Mark Fleischers as a candidate to run for the Dutchess County Board of Cooperative Education Service Board.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I'm gonna do roll call. Naomi Flicksham Marquez,
Yes.
Jamar Cummins,
Yes.
Eleanor Chiarenza, Bob Creedon.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. There is motion to walk on item number 20.2, approval of the memorandum of agreement between the Poughkeepsie City's School District and Poughkeepsie's New York Public School Paraprofessional Association. Is there a motion to walk it on?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Can we have motion to approve or vote, however I say that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Mr. Mott, comments? Oh, okay. Now, it's not in my script. They're bringing it, okay. Can we have a motion to approve item 20.2, approval of the memorandum of agreement between the Poughkeepsie School District and the Poughkeepsie, New York Public School Paraprofessional Association?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. Now, Mr. We're good? See things rustling back there, we good? Okay, all right. Motions, all the motions are carried. Mr. Mott, superintendent comments?
Thank you, Mr. Creedon. Just real quick, once again, I do want to congratulate our students who are present today, and the milestone of 1,000 points in the season is pretty remarkable. Congratulations to the family members and friends and fellow athletes who were present this evening with them. Once again, do want to apologize to all of our members here who waited for us to come down from executive session. As stated, we did have quite a bit of conversation taking place. And with that said, given the lateness of the hour, I'm going to conclude my comments by saying good night. Mr. Creedon.
Thank you. Great. Naomi.
Should I wait?
No.
Want me to wait? Okay. I just have two shout outs to give. One is for the Krieger Elementary PTA for hosting their first ever silent dance party. There were, are we good? Okay. There were over 75 students that participated in the dance party, so that was a successful event. And I also wanted to give a shout out to Dr. Palmer and her workshop this weekend at the Saturday Morning Lights. It was an amazing workshop. I encourage parents to come out to learn more about how to support their students with special needs. It was super informative, and part 2 and part 3 are coming soon. So please come and support her work there. Thank you.
Thank you, Naomi. Jamar?
First, happy Women's History Month. I'm a big feminist, so I love Women's History Month, and also it's my birthday month too. So shout out to all the Aries. Beyond that, I want to thank the middle school, the communities, actually community school, Jessica Ortiz for inviting me to take part in the district-wide Black History Month event. It was so much fun. I always enjoy coming to those type of events and getting myself out of this type of work every day. So I truly enjoyed myself in that event there. Only thing I want to make sure, it's election time. People are going to be knocking on your doors to talk to you about their candidacy. I know we live in a crazy time right now where you don't know who's knocking on your door. You don't want to open up. You don't want to open up your doors for me. But we are here to just tell you about these candidates. It doesn't matter what side you're choosing to vote on, but as long as we all are exercising our right to vote, especially in our upcoming election, our upcoming school board election, I want to make sure our parents are registered and participating in their children's education. And the best way to do that is by participating in school board elections. Also by showing up to parent-teacher conferences, also by coming to the school board meetings, also by emailing your teachers, also by just staying engaged. So I want to make sure that everyone is registered. If you're not registered to vote, you can email me at my BOE email. I'll send you the link to register to vote. New York State made it easy. You can register right online. I know voter ID is a big thing, and we are a voter ID state because they do require us to have the last four of your social, which is your ID. So don't let anyone tell you that New York State doesn't believe in voter ID, because we do. That's all I have. Make sure you go register to vote. Again, if you haven't registered, you don't know how to register, please email me and I will guide you in that direction. Otherwise, have a great day. Have a great night.
Eleanor?
I just want to say thank you to all the students that came out. Thank you for bearing with us. We really did have a lot to discuss, and we are committed to making the board meetings more shorter and able for everybody to bear and deal with. Okay, I just want to say again, the middle school for the Black History Month, it was amazing. We had a great time. It was really, really good. And we're just making strides towards a better district. Bear with us. We're not perfect. We're doing it one day at a time. And we do have the best interests of the kids. The Board of Ed leadership, we're trying. So just bear in mind that we're trying to do the best we can. I do want to give a shout out to Dr. Palmer. She is making great strides with the students with exceptionalities. And we just want to support our principals, support our teachers, support our leaders, and the strides that they're taking. The elementary schools are amazing. We receive such good feedback about how welcoming the elementary schools are, and I can attest to that because I've been in them and they're awesome. So we just want to make the middle school and the high school as great as we can. That's it.
All right. Well, it's to me, and I'm just going to say, unfortunately, there was a typo, and I thought something was in the consent agenda, and it never made the consent agenda. All right. So with that said, I might as well give what I was the thing. I want to say thank you to all the parents with the disruption. I can't remember, and the teachers, I can't remember a winter like this. I shared with Greg that it sent me back to when you would wake up and turn on WPDH and see if you had to go to school. And all that's changed with parents and everything. But it's been a real disruption in our education. It's going to affect our attendance. But I'd like to thank all the staff and the parents and the students for making the best of a pretty lousy winter. I think at this time, even the kids were hoping to go in at the regular hour. With that said, we had a little snafu, and we're going to go in an executive session, or we go put it on the agenda. All right, Becky, we don't. Well, she has to give me a. Okay. Yeah, we have a number yet for the agenda item. Who could? But we can't vote in executive session. We can go in an executive session and come back out, but Jamar said he can't stay for the vote. If I'm hearing you correctly, you can't stay. And you'll keep typing, Becky. All right. We can sit here for 5 minutes and Becky can type. All right, if any, we're gonna take just take a little break, informal break, if anybody has to pack, use the facilities or whatever. Do I have a motion to reconvene the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Becky?
Is there a motion to bring on resolution 26-366 and resolution number 26-367? Can I get a motion to
Motion.
bring that to the table?
So
All right.
moved.
Second. Any discussion?
All in favor?
Roll call. Aye.
Aye.
With that said, can I have
Can I get a motion to approve
a motion to approve?
the administrative leave of absence resolution number 26-366?
I'll make a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Can I have a roll call?
Ms. Fleischer Marquez,
Yes.
Mr. Cummins,
I'm going to vote to abstain. I'm abstaining. I need more information before I can vote.
Ms. Shirenza, and Mr. Creedon.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Wait.
No, wait. Now what do I have to do? Sorry, there's another one?
There's another one. Is
Okay.
there a motion to approve administrative leave of absent resolution number 26-367?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
And you abstaining? Okay. All right, we could move on to adjourn.
Now can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. You want me to